Hello my friends! Today I'm bringing you 20 of the cutest patterns for dog lovers. I recently did a version of this for cat lovers here on my channel, and you know I could not forget about man's best friend. If you're new here, hi, my name's Erica. I love any and everything yarn related. If you're not new here, then welcome back. If you've been hanging out for a little while, you know how much I love both of my cats, Mochi and Moon. You might not know though, before that I was an avid dog person. I only grew up being around dogs. We had Puffy, who was my first pet, and then we also had Duke. Both are Shelties and I loved them so dearly, so I had to make this video for my fellow dog lovers out there. Per usual with my pattern roundup videos, I am going to include the Google Doc in the description box down below. It has all of the links to the patterns that we discuss in the video today in the order that we talk about them in, as well as each of the designers that is associated with each pattern, so be sure to go and check that out if you see anything that you like here today. The last thing I want to say before we jump into the pattern roundup, this is my second time recording for some of this video. Some of the footage did not make it over from my camera to my laptop for some reason, and I did not notice it until I was editing. So I did put on the same clothes just for continuity's sake, but you probably will notice the lighting change a little bit. These were not filmed on the same day. There's a little bit of movie magic happening here, so I hope that's not too annoying. We're gonna start off with the section for your bestie. These are all items that you can make for your dog. Kicking us off, we have the Pluto dog sweater, and I feel like this almost looks like your typical dog sweater that you see around a scrap yarn project, but what makes it so unique and fun to me is that fur collar. I especially love seeing how it is popping against the brown of the dog's actual fur, and I just think it's a really fun and different dog sweater from one that we might typically see around. Next is the Lumina crochet dog bandana pattern, and I don't know about you guys, but when I would send my dogs, or my parents would send our dogs to the groomers, I thought it was the cutest thing when they would come home with those little bandanas on, but you don't have to wait for that to see that. You can make one yourself. So this one is adorable. I feel like it would work up really quickly, and it's done in one solid color, but you could totally swap it out and do a striped version of this if you want. I also think it would work up fast because of the chain spaces here. We also have this more rainbow looking one, but this one just doesn't have the chain spaces, and again, looks like another really simple project to whip up quickly and a great way to get rid of your scrap yarn. Next, we have this adorable crochet hat, and I don't know if it's just the photo that really got me here, you guys, but the green against this like golden brown fur on this golden retriever is just chef's kiss adorable. I also feel like so much effort and energy went into designing this hat, and you can really tell there's a lot of attention to detail. For instance, the ribbing, the pom-pom, and also I love the chin strap with the 3 or 4 different strands braided. Now, I do want to take a moment just to say, and I'm sure you already know this if you are a pet owner, but just use your own discretion and be cautious when it comes to putting anything with a neck strap on your dog. Definitely do not leave them unattended in these, as I think it could present quite the choking hazard if it got caught on something. Just be careful and use common sense when it comes to this stuff. I personally think putting wearables on dogs is probably just for photos and not actually for them to walk around in. Anyway, I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but I do love this hat. I think it's adorable, and I would love to see any pet wearing it. Then we have the small dog elf hat, and I put this one in the last pattern roundup for cats, but I had to include it in this one as well because somehow it looks even derpier on the dog than it did on the cat, which I didn't think was possible. Again, I think that this would make for a great hat to put on your dog for Christmas cards or anything like that. Next is going to seem kind of random, but let me explain. It is the 6-Day Superstar Blanket by Betty McKnit, and the reason I'm putting this as a pattern for your bestie is, I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to opening presents at Christmas time, I always love to make sure that I do something for my animals so they don't feel left out. I don't know if that's crazy, but I genuinely feel like they look sad if you don't, so I always like to package something up for them, and I feel like they have so much fun. So this would be such an adorable gift for your dog, and the great thing about this pattern is you can just make it as big as you want. It's not like you have to work across an entire row to create the width of it. It's done in spirals, so you can just stop whenever you feel like it is a good size for your pet. You could put this around the house in places that they frequent, whether it's their pet bed, on the couch if they have a spot, and I think that they will just truly feel the love from this gift. Lastly, in this section, we have the crochet Christmas cape pattern, and something about this is just so delicate and cute. I really love the way that it looks on this Maltese specifically, but I also think if you had it on a really small breed like a Chihuahua or something like that, it would be so adorable. Moving on to things for humans again. The first section we're looking at is the wearables and accessories, and to kick off this section, we have the sausage dog scarf crochet pattern, and I just think that this is the most adorable thing ever. I love the visual interest that comes from having the tail at one end and the wiener dog run all the way across to the other end of the scarf. I just think that it's so fun and whimsical and very unique. I have not seen anything like it online or in real life, but if scarves are not your thing, I also added to this pattern roundup the bag version by the same designer, and this might take even less time because it's not quite as long as doing a scarf, but it has the same effect with the front of the dog and the back of the dog both sitting on the front of the purse, and it wraps all the way around. So fun, unique, cute, love. The next one is the bean sweater, and I think the idea here is to be able to customize it to crochet your own dog on your sweater. Now, I want to just say this pattern is a little bit pricey. It's $13. However, it comes with 7 different modifications for different dog types, so you can choose the one that most closely matches your dog or whoever you're making this for's dog. The other thing to keep in mind too is that this is a tapestry pattern, so if you want to make the tapestry itself but not put it on a sweater, you can definitely do that. This pattern is kind of dual purpose in that way. Next, we have the paw print granny square, and I like to put one of these in every pattern roundup video if I can, because they're very versatile and you can kind of make whatever you want with it. You could use this to make a bag, a pillow cover, sweater, cardigan, whatever your heart desires. And I just thought that this paw print one was very adorable. It is a free video tutorial. If you don't want to do an entire sweater made out of paw print granny squares too, you can mix and match, do a solid color or maybe some standard granny squares. The opportunities and combinations are really endless. And then I also mentioned that I would have one more pattern that you could match your dog with, and that is this one. It is the Wildberry dog sweater, and it also has a human version available. This is by Heart Hook Home, and I think that this sweater is already gorgeous to make for yourself, but the fact that you can make it to match your dog, it's just that much cuter. Moving on to the home category, we are starting this category out with a bang, you guys. The Cuddly Canines Afghan is, I fear, the coolest blanket that I have ever seen. What really stood out to me about this blanket though is in the bottom right corner you will see a Sheltie. I feel like that doesn't happen very often with crochet patterns. I've been looking around at the dog patterns and that was the first time I saw anything about a Sheltie, so it made me really excited. I also feel like if I walked into somebody's house and saw this blanket in their living room on their couch, I would just know I was in the presence of the coolest person ever. This would be such an amazing gift for any dog lover in your life, but you have to love this person, and you also have to know that they are going to appreciate this, because this will be quite the doozy of a pattern. However, I think the end results could be worth it. Just make sure you have plenty of time. Next, we have the French Bulldog wall hanging, and I thought that this was so adorable. This is a free written pattern. However, if you want the chart to follow along with, you will have to pay for that. I still think that the free written pattern was super generous, and if you know anybody who loves French Bulldogs or owns one, I think that this would yet again be a wonderful gift. So cute. I love the smile on the dog. I feel like that is always how I've seen Frenchies out in public and going about the world. They just got the biggest smile on their face, and this would just bring a little pop of joy into anybody's face. Next one is a little bit more practical. These are the two-toned crochet nesting baskets, and if you own a dog, you know how unruly it can get with the amount of dog toys that get sprawled around the house. So why not make yourself a super aesthetic, cute little basket to house all of their toys? I love these baskets. I feel like they would work up pretty quickly. I also like that you can nest the one inside of the together if you're not using it. I just think that they are so chic and beautiful. Another free pattern here, we have the crochet puppy pillow free video tutorial here up on YouTube, and it does look like this pillow is made out of granny squares. So if you wanted to mix and match that paw print granny square that we talked about earlier, you totally could, whether you use it on a pillow or something else. But I just love the dogs and how they pop out on each of the squares a little bit. I think it's a really fun 3D effect, and it adds some of that visual interest that you might not get with a otherwise completely flat tapestry crocheted granny pattern. Just another great little home decor option. And then the last one for this category is this dog pot holder, and I did include the cat version in my pattern roundup previously. I said this then and I'll say it again. With the plastic eyes on the pot holder, I would be very cautious about putting that into the oven. I actually looked at the designer's free pattern for this one and they said the same thing. They would embroider the eyes on if this was actually going to be used in the oven. So just something to keep in mind. The perk that you dog lovers get though, that cat lovers didn't get, is that this is a free pattern. And if you go on the designer's website, Blackstone Designs, they have tons of other different breeds all for free as well. I just used the corgi because I thought it was really cute, but definitely go check that out for some of the other options. We're gonna wrap things up with the Amigurumi section. I just have 3 quick patterns for you guys, but I want to say before I dive in, it's kind of hard to find dog patterns. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and this goes across all of the other categories as well. There were plenty of cat related patterns, but I had a little bit of a harder time, but especially for Amigurumi. I have noticed that there seems to be a more proportionate amount of cat patterns than there are to dogs, and I don't really know what's up with that. Maybe they're just harder to make. Anyway, that's just a side note. The first pattern in this category is this crochet corgi pattern, and what I loved about this one was the way that it was laying on its stomach. It looks a little bit different from anything else that I had seen, and I just thought it was very fun and playful. Then we have the No Sew Crochet Animals by Chubbies by Ash, and it looks like this one is one base pattern, but you can kind of swap it out to do like the Shiba Inu in the picture, or it looks like a pug, and then of course you can do the kitty cats as well. I wanted to throw this one in here because I have not found any good market prep friendly patterns for dogs other than maybe the No Sew Mini Amigurumi from Crochet by Jenna's book, but otherwise it's a little bit hard to find them, so I wanted to throw this one in here as well for any of you who are doing market prep and need a good dog pattern. Lastly, we have the Crochet Dog Lovey / Puppy Snuggler, and I just wanted to put one snuggler into the Amigurumi section just for a little bit of variety. I really love the way that this one turned out. I feel like it's very obvious that it's a dog, which sometimes for some reason that gets a little bit lost in these patterns. I really do love the way that the designer used the dog nose as well as the eyes, but if I were making this for a child, I would definitely embroider on the eyes and the nose, just so that way there's no choking hazard on the doll at all. Okay guys, that's gonna wrap up today's pattern roundup video. I hope that you saw something that you liked within the 20 patterns that I shared today. If so, please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to know what that is. As usual, if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and I will be back in the future with more crochet related content very soon. Thanks, bye!